Look who it is. We're back again, ladies and gentlemen, with the Redmen TV. It is the player rankings after Brighton have just been dumped out of the Carabao Cup by 1 goal difference in the end. It was Brighton 2, Liverpool 3. If you've not been here all night, where have you been? What have you been doing? Let us know in the comments, though, if you have been here tonight. You know how this game goes. Not really a game, it's more like a show. But we are going to rank the players from boss to a messing tonight. We're going to go from the back to the front. We're going to talk about a couple of the players, some of the standout players, some of the standout moments. You let me know in the chat. Leave it downstairs. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, because this is the last show from me this evening before I'm back again on Saturday to do it all over again with Brighton. Deja vu. But anyway, as Dan said before, it's a scare fest because it is Halloween season. So we're going to go for it. And let's see if we start in goal with Jarell. Sam Coulson already says, no brainer, no question. You've just got to give him boss. And I think he makes a very good point, if I'm being honest with you, because we could have had Kelleher tonight on a normal evening. Alisson being fit, Kelleher is like, this is his competition. Let's make no mistake about it. This has been the Kelleher Cup for a couple of seasons. He's handed the mantle over to this lad, and he's only 23. He's had a couple of moments. I think it was the Palace game where he's had to come on with 10, 15 minutes to go. Haven't seen a great deal of him outside of pre-season, but he's came in today and he's made 2 excellent saves, top draw saves that even the likes of Alisson would have been proud of making, and we would have absolutely sung his praises had it been someone of Alisson's stature making the saves that he had made tonight. But he did it in a superb fashion. I'm very happy that he was in sticks tonight. He put in a very good account for himself. There's not a lot you can do about the second goal. I think the first goal, he probably wants to palm the Ferguson shot away from goal a little bit more, just so that there's nobody able to run in and score. But outside of that, I think it's hard to say he was anything other than boss. So I will go to your chats. I will. Even conceding 2, he's still boss. I agree. Sam says he still can't blame him for the goals. Baldwin says boss sound. Oh, I like that. Brighton versus Liverpool, the Halloween derby. Oh, I'll be letting Dan Club know about that one. Yeah, thank you. Bab Alam says, hi sound, a great save, but could have done better with the first goal. And I agree there. I think he could have potentially done a little bit better with the first goal. But I think, you know what? Making that start in this competition, you're being harsh. I think you're being a little bit harsh if you don't want to give him boss for that. I know that we can see 2 in the end, but I do think he deserves his flowers. Give him a little bit of credit. If that makes you feel better. I don't really grade. Once you're in the zone, you're in the zone. I don't really grade it too tough, but I think he sits comfortably in boss. High sound, could have done better with the first goal, yeah. Ellis Day says boss. Ellis is a big fan of the goalkeepers, by the way. He put in a couple of chats earlier on. And Reece Williams says, yeah, that's a very good counterpoint to that. He shouldn't have been put in that position for the first goal in the first place. It wasn't his mistake, and he was dealing with it. So yeah, I think he has been boss. Moving over to Conor Bradley, coming back fresh off the treatment room, back. Plays a big part in the game. I think he does well. I think it gets a little bit more difficult for him when Brighton start to make the changes in the second half. I think Adinga and Mitoma both give him some moments where he was in a little bit of danger. But I thought he was good all over, to be honest with you. His all-round play, he's wanting to drive. He's constantly up and down. He reminds me of Robertson on the right. That's what he reminds me of when Robertson was on that upward trajectory. That's kind of how his game seems to be moulded for me. I do think he was really good. Hazala says he was sound. Matoma had him on toast a little bit though, a few times, but he held his own overall. And I think he did overall. And I think the longer that, even though it was only 15, 20. The longer it went on, the more he seemed to get to grips with the proposition of Mitoma as well. Mitoma started to eventually start coming inside as well and cut inside. Dino says he was sound. Yeah, high sound for both up to now. I'm going to go with sound as well. I thought it was a good comeback performance for him, coming off the back of an injury, and that's what you want. I'm not expecting him to absolutely tear it up on his first game back. I just wanted him to find his feet, find his rhythm a little bit, get comfortable. He hasn't lost a yard of pace. He's not lost any of his confidence. He's still doing all of those good things. He's got all the hallmarks of a very good up-and-coming fullback. I think he's still got a very bright future, and I was quite happy and content with the performance that he put in there this evening. So yeah, I'm going to go sound, ladies and gentlemen, unless you've got anything else to add for Conor Bradley, we can move over to, and we'll probably have a conversation about this lad for a couple of minutes. Jarell Quansah, ladies and gents. I think for 70-odd minutes he was having a very good game, and I would have firmly just said, after the tough start to the season, obviously not really featuring much since the Ipswich game, which I didn't think as well, to the naked eye, didn't look like he was having a terrible game. Obviously there was issues in game management and the battles and the duels won that were just cause for concern for Slot, and it wasn't the level of control that he wants. And ultimately, since he's been removed from the starting 11, we've seen the level of control that he actually needs for this team for it to function the way that he wants it to function. So it's justified, and I understand it completely. But I would have been saying he would have been boss. He would have been sound. He's come back, he's shrugged it off, he's dusted himself down, and he's good to go all over again. However, he does have a couple of mistakes in him that cost us 2 goals. On another day, could have cost us more. We get away with it today. I've already spoken a couple of times and mentioned the fact that I'm quite content with him making those mistakes when it ultimately means nothing. Nobody will remember in 2-3 years' time, I remember he had that stinker against Brighton in the Carabao Cup, 3rd, 4th round, whatever it was. It will be long forgotten. But in the here and now, I think he took it to heart, and I don't really like that for young players, because you're meant to make mistakes. You're not meant to be Virgil van Dijk. You are not meant to be imperious and absolute aura at this tender age of 21. You have to understand that there is always going to be pressure when you play for Liverpool Football Club, but you have to also be able to not put too much pressure on yourself. So for me, I struggle to berate him. I struggle to say he was shit, he had a stinker, he was hooked. That's not what I'm about, if I'm being honest with you, ladies and gents. If that's how you want to do it and that's how you are, that's fine. But just let us know his all-round performance today for me, apart from those 2 moments. And I don't really think the second one's unfortunate. He tries to get his body in the way, he tries to put a block in, and the ball, it's one of them that just, it hits him and it spins the other way and goes in the back of the net. All of our defenders have done that. We've seen them all, it happened to them all, and we still praise them where we should. Petru says, mid-sound, but he looks a bit shaky and has dropped off a little bit behind Conate and Gomez, but we need patience. Yeah. Hallowed Henchman says 90% of us would shit ourselves playing in front of like 30 or 40,000 fans at 21. Yeah. Yeah, Stefan, I don't know why. Jaros, yeah, but at the end of the day, Jaros had no right to save 2. I know we're going back. He had no right to save 2, and then he concedes 2 sloppy ones. Like, it is what it is. Ellis Day says somewhere between your messing and your sound. Are we being harsh? And that's what I was going to say, Haslar. I was going to say this in stream as well, so I'm very, very glad that you made this point. The truth is, he wasn't noticed. Until he made those mistakes, nobody noticed. And I think that was the compliment that I was going to give. Flying under the radar and just going about your business, getting the job done, is all that we would have asked of you tonight, and you would have been sound, and that would have been brilliant. It would have been more than enough. Unfortunately, those mistakes have got people talking about Jarell Quansah. And I think, as I said, those mistakes, I can overlook them. Do you know what I mean? We'll get on to other people that have made mistakes in a little bit, and how I'm still willing to overlook those mistakes as well. So I will keep that same energy for our young centre-back tonight. And I will say, and I'll stick, come at me in the comments for this one. Forget Jarell, come at me in the comments for this one, because I'm going to say he was sound. There is room for improvement. There will be other opportunities. We are still in the cup. We're still in the competition. He's been part of a team that has won tonight 3-2. I think he was sound. I would like to see improvements in the next game, and I would like to see him iron out those individual mistakes. Moments of concentration, lapses of concentration, more importantly, I should say, have cost us in that respect, but it didn't cost us the game. Nothing's lost, nothing's broke, and we are able to move on to the weekend. Joe Gomez, he's the one that I would say that reference that came through from Haslar before, just going about your business. Don't have to mention him. There was nothing stand out. There was nothing spectacular. But everything you did all right. You were sound, composed. He looked like the experienced senior player. He looks like he's still got it. He's fit at the moment as well. I thought Joe was really good. I've got Jeffrey Burney saying he was boss. I've got Sam Cullerson saying he was sound. A high sound. I've got Grant saying it's sound. Absolutely loved Joe there from Nigel. Yeah. Stephen says, I would like to see Joe at left back a little bit. That's quite an interesting point, that, because I think someone mentioned before the fact that Slot's probably asking Robertson to have a little bit more defensive responsibilities, and Robertson was a little bit more defensively sound than Trent in the Klopp era and what we was doing there. And I think it was that system was a little bit more tailored suited to his game. Maybe someone who is a little bit more defensively robust in someone and got that recovery pace as Joe Gomez. Maybe it might work. I'm just not 100% sure, but it would be interesting to see if the opportunity ever presented itself for someone like Joe Gomez to come in and have a couple of games there to just see if he can revive himself in that position. But I thought Joe was good, to be honest. I thought he was probably in the high sound, boss sort of area. Yeah, Jackson says high sound as well. So yeah, there was a couple. I can't really remember any big mistakes or any big moments, but I think again, yeah, Felix says he was superb, Joe. There's another guy there underneath that says Joe was boss, lost boss. Yeah, so let's keep it moving into mid. Oh no, we don't. We've got another. Another talking point, another conversation. I think he had a difficult night today, if I'm being honest with you. Again, I think Robertson's overall game was more questionable than Quansah's overall game, but Quansah's mistakes made it more noticeable. So if you can kind of make heads and tails of what I'm basically saying is, overall, Quansah had a good game, but had a couple of mistakes in him. Overall, Robertson probably dropped a little bit of a stinker, but didn't have any real big mistakes that cost us anything in the game. And I think that's kind of where we're at with Robertson at the moment, is his overall game, his reading of the game, his positioning, his late challenges. And sometimes he was always, susceptible to a foul, and I never had an issue with that. But it just looks like he's just a bit off the pace of things at the moment. And I'm hoping it is just a downturn in form and he's just in a bit of a bad rut that he can play his way out of and get back to he was always, for me, a 7, a consistent performer, 7 out of 10, most weeks. You knew what you was going to get. You was happy every time his name was on the team sheet because it was consistent, same week in, week out with Robertson. At the moment, it's up and down. 1 week you'll have a 7, but the next week he's going to have a 5, and then a 7, and then a 5. And I just want him to get back to that point of consistently putting back in those 7s. If he can't get to that consistent point, then yeah, there needs to be a conversation about the long-term prospect of having him in and around the squad or the starting 11. What would that look like? But for me, I'm hoping it is just a factor of it just being a downward turn in form. Robertson gradually got better as the game went on. He's been getting beaten a lot more often than we'd like to see, though. Yeah. LFC aficionado says a low sound. Yeah, and that's where I'm at, Haslar. He says, he's given us absolutely everything for almost a decade. So let's just say that it's form and he's got the ability to turn it around. And that's what I'm That's where I'm putting my chips at the moment. If I was a betting man, I'd be saying it is just form and it hasn't completely gone, and he doesn't have to leave football before the football's left him type of situation. I still think he's got it. I still think he's got the ability and capability to pick his form back up, and I just hope for his sake that he's able to do that, because yeah, like Grant says, and I did want him to play this game because I just felt like you had a bit of a torrid time on the weekend, but go out there again and just dust yourself off and play. And it might just be easy to just get this stinky stench off him a little bit, and just running it out and just playing him back into form might actually work. Grant says, low sound, got away with a shaky game, but might need a rest. Yeah, Leon says he deserves respect. A few bad games when we pile on. It's a bit embarrassing from our fans. No, I think criticism is fair. At the end of the day, every single player in our, starting 11 through the last couple of years has all been subject to criticism, whether that's been Salah, whether that's been Van Dijk, whether that's been Trent. Even Alisson gets criticised for his injury records, you know what I mean? There's always something where we can look to analyse and criticise and want better for our players, and I think we do have to hold them to account in that respect. But again, I do believe he has got the quality, and I do believe everything that he's given to this club, he deserves the chance to prove us that he's still got it, and I'm not going to write Andy Robertson off just yet. Yeah, low sound. For me, I think is probably fair to say. I do love Andy Robertson, but I do think it's fair to say I am being led to believe by the chat that the Manchester City game has all wrapped up and they have now been knocked out. Apparently the draw's at 10:40 though. That seems like a long time to wait now, if that's true. I don't know if I'll still be on stream by that point in time because I'd like to be in bed at some point this evening. Who else have we got in midfield now? Moving into midfield. Toro, Endo. Defensively on the ball, thought he was okay. I thought he screened quite well for us in defensive areas. He was battling, he was dueling, he was getting amongst it all. It's just getting on the ball and driving us through the gears and getting us through, into the opposition's half and all the rest of it. He doesn't glide in the same way that Ryan Gravenberch does, but not many midfielders do. So it is very difficult to compare the two. But sometimes just his decision making to play the ball forward. I think it's now a case of what we're doing in training has become so tailored around Gravenberch's distribution of the ball that obviously he's trying to replicate it. And I think him just trying to play that pass first time or play it quickly, his execution isn't at the same level and his quality just isn't at the same level when it comes to being on the ball. So it makes it a little bit harder. He always seemed to be quite a safe DM in the respect that he'd get the ball, he'd screen, and then the next pass had to be sideways just to keep us on the ball. But that's not how our DM tends to operate at this moment in time. So, yeah, doing all night to Petros? I don't think so. I've got work again in the morning. I wouldn't even love to. I'd struggle to. I'm far too old to be doing all-nighters. Yeah, Mario says I'm fair with everyone. I try to be fair with everyone. I don't always get it right at the end of the day. This is all a subjective thing. Everybody's going to view and watch the game completely different. I watch the game with all of you lot, love doing it, but I'm watching with a couple of thousand people watching us, watching the game. It is very difficult when I'm watching it at home or when you go to the ground. I am fully aware of that. So I do try to be as balanced as possible. Yeah. Baldwin says, Endo straight in the middle of sound. Grant says, low sound. Comfortable on the ball, but gave it away. It doesn't look like he fits a slot system, but you can't question his professionalism. No, you certainly can't. Sound, low boss, hard run, upper sound, higher than Quansah. Okay, so there for Endo. Is that fair? I liked what he did, to be honest with you. I had no qualms about it. I thought it was fit for purpose tonight, and I think that was a good game for him, a good challenge. Brighton are always going to be very good on the ball. They're going to be very comfortable on the ball. They're going to be a bit of a ball-playing team as well. So they're not just going to hoof it. They're not just going to go for long balls. They're not looking to just hit it and nail it into the channels or anything like that. You're going to have somebody sitting in front of your back line to kind of screen and protect them a little bit. And I think as well, obviously, with having the likes of a young lad, Quansah behind him, I think the first half. It's more noticeable. The mistakes start to happen around him when he goes off the pitch. So make that of that what you will. Connor Welling says, why is Robbo so low? Did you watch the game? If you didn't, you didn't have the best game. If you did, you're still asking that question. What game was you watching? But yeah. Yeah, Rhys Williams says, he is like Lucas Leiva, runs and breaks up play, but nothing pretty. Yeah, a bit of a throwback. I can work with it though. Who else have we got? This lad, think he gets a big thumbs up from me tonight. I think he passed the test of, has he got a part to play for Liverpool this season? I think this might be the competition for him. This might be the opportunity, but I thought Morton was decent. Yeah. Harjan says, decent la. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought he was boss. Rhys Williams says he was boss as well. Mid-sound by Jack. I thought he was really good, to be honest with you. I think he's really good on the ball. He likes to get involved. He likes to play. He seems to be a bit of a metronome type player where he tries to dictate the play of things from that midfield sense as well. I thought he was good in a lot of aspects really for me. I'm not sure where I would place him. I think he's probably a high sound if it was up to me, but people are saying low boss. And yet, do you know what? For the assist for that first goal as well, I'm putting you firmly in there because I was liking what he was doing on the ball anyway, up until that point. But to note that you've got the ability to find that pass and get us in behind and get us on the front foot, yeah, I think that's deserved for me personally, ladies and gents. Is there anybody else that we had in that midfield? It's very difficult now because on paper it wasn't. It was just like them two, and then two of these lads that kind of came in. So it's like, who do I want to do first? We'll go Szoboszlai. I'll give you 20 seconds. Let me know, because I'm going to read some of your comments about Szoboszlai before I start to go in on Szoboszlai. Not necessarily go in on him, but if I start to unpack Szoboszlai's game. So yeah, let us know what we're thinking, and then I will probably disagree with a lot of this. Sound. Szoboszlai was boss. High sound for Soblo. Sound, but nothing special, but I love the energy. Very good, high sound. Another mid sound. Jim Flanagan said he was defo boss. High sound, low boss. I love him, but I think he's a great player. He has to work on his end product, but he was sound for me. Anxiety says other than the missed chances, he played well. He did a lot of running, it was necessary. All right. I get the general gist of where you're saying. You think Szoboszlai was there-ish, in and around. I hope I've got that right. Okay. I would have probably said he would have been sound. Definitely would have been sound. Make no mistake about it. I probably wouldn't have been singing his praises. Had he scored one of the two chances that he would have got, I would have said that was a boss performance, and that's more like the performances we need to see from Dominic Szoboszlai going forward. Goals and assists are going to be rare. Ultimately, his performances are measured for us this season. I'll kind of liken it to where I was at with Diaz last year. All the running, all the intensity, all of the endeavour, I can't knock. That's what I want all my Liverpool players to play like. However, there has to be some output. When you are playing that high up the pitch, when you are one of our creative players, when you have got the ability to strike a ball, you have to be putting up numbers that justify your place in this squad, because for a long time, our creative, spark has been a right back. If a right back can put it on a plate for somebody, how can you, number 10, not be offering up two big chances every single game when he's on the pitch? That's unforgivable. That's how we've got to start thinking about it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the level that we should be expecting for the likes of Szoboszlai, the likes of Diaz. And for me, he's just fallen short of that. Is he a victim of this new system at this moment in time, getting to grips with it, having to learn it all? Obviously, he played as a little bit more of an 8 last year, so there was there was a little bit of a difference and a bit more nuance in his role, but now he is kind of in that little hub in the half space. And that's the point. Mr. MJ Mango says, our strikers do seem to be feeding off scraps. They do. I completely agree. You know, Slaughter's unlocked every position apart from the one nearest the goal, and we're seeing that it's still in these games. There's still time to fix it, and I still think that the press is very good, but he has got a big part to play in being able to provide, giving good service, and then when he's making those runs into the box or he's supporting the attack, believe in yourself, Szoboszlai. Believe that you can put the ball in the back of the net and you will get the goals that you deserve for your performances, because you've been putting in a shift now for a number of weeks. I still think there is still more to come, and I still have belief. This is your show, ladies and gentlemen. You have decided that there was elements of his game tonight which was boss, and he was more than just sound. I am going to trust that you in the chat have got this right, and that I am just being overly critical where it comes to Dominik Szoboszlai. He was fuming with the ref a number of times. I thought he had a good game. Again, he's another one. Just went about his business. Again, kind of like Gini Wijnaldum-esque in terms of just keeping the ball retention, very good on the ball, very calm, very composed, getting us on the front foot. But he was both playing this false 9-10, so they kept both rotating and swapping and changing between who would go up, and sometimes when he was pressing he'd both be there and he'd drop a little bit and then one would go. And there was clear instructions and it was a clear system choice for them to play in that way. And I think at times it was a little bit unfamiliar to both of them, but I think they found a way to make it work and still offer a lot of solidity for the team. And I thought in the first half we was all over, you know, Brighton, and I think in the second half we started strong. I think there was parts of way through the second half where we lost our way, but I did think Jones was sound and was fine. So for me, yeah, I'm going to score Jones, and I'm just going to say he was sound. Again, I'm running out of space a little bit, so don't get too pedantic with the positioning, please. Final two. Before I go on, and I won't talk about all of the subs because, yeah, I think I'll talk about one of the subs because the others were just fine, and I'm not going to try and squeeze them on the board. And I don't know where the man of the match one is. They've taken it away from me, but let me start knowing who your man of the match was in the chat as well, ladies and gents, who you thought. Found it. Aha. We'll do this one soon as well. Let us know. But Luis Diaz, again, shifted over to the right-hand side for early parts of the game, for the majority of the game, until he goes over to the left-hand side when Cody Gakpo goes off. Thought again he was good. Again, he's another one who just tireless, works really hard on the ball. I do want to see more numbers. I want to see more numbers from him in as often as possible, to be fair, when the output, and he's had a little bit of a dip, so I did expect tonight that there was going to be opportunities for him to score, and he didn't let me down, so I am very happy with his game. Stepped up for us again. I think he was fine. Luis Diaz, Bear says, was a low boss. Michaela Perkins says, I thought Diaz was mid-sound until his goal. Who else? Diaz was a high sound, but I wouldn't swap him. High sound. Diaz with the hold my beer to Luis Gakpo. Grant says a low boss. Okay. Yeah, Christopher Campbell says it was sound. I don't know what happened to your other chat there, Christopher, so I do apologise. But yeah, I did get that in the end. Thank you. Boss, definitely. Everybody's happy with Diaz at the moment, and I'm here for it at the end of the day. I think he deserves his flowers. It was another good performance from him. I'd say, yeah, he was in and around, probably a little bit above Szoboszlai. Again, towards Tyler Morton there. But again, I am quite happy to leave him where he is. I think he was absolutely fine. And then finally, in terms of the starting 11, we've got one more man to talk about. How could we forget about this guy? Cody Gakpo he looked like he was the outball quite a lot, and I said that. It didn't really click for him in terms of the final pass or the ball in the first half, but he looked like a threat, and he was a consistent option and giving us the opportunities down that left-hand side. We thought he was going to start through the middle, he doesn't. He's very clearly on that left-hand side for the majority of the game, and he almost sets up the assist as well. He almost gets an assist to his name, trying to tee up Szoboszlai a couple of times. I don't think the pass is particularly good for the one where we're breaking 3-on-1, but I still think we should do better. But for me, yeah, it is all day. Cody Gakpo was boss. There's 2 goals. The finish with the first one, Tyler Moore, again, the link up there, plays him in over the top. He stands his man up. You know he likes to come in on and cut in on the inside. He does, but he gives the keeper no chance. He looks like he's going to set it really and try and loop it, but he just sets it and drills it across, gets a little bit of fizz, gets a little bit of bend on it, and just curls one in. And it was absolutely brilliant from him. Really sets us up in the right way. Then he tries to go from scorer to provider. We can have questions around the execution of his pass. Could it have been a little bit better? Could he have passed it a little bit earlier? Questions that, you know, ultimately don't result in Liverpool scoring a second, but within about the space of 2 minutes, he's back on the score sheet and he drills one low and hard, beating the keeper at his near post. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Really, really did. Stood up with a good performance. And again, I think the second one comes at a time where up until the mistakes defensively from Brighton were on top. They had responded well to Liverpool going ahead. And I just think when it came to having that ruthlessness and killing the game off, Cody Gakpo, he was in and amongst it. He was the guy, he was the driving force in that respect. So big up Gakpo, yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot of people saying that Gakpo is the man of the match as well. Big improvements. I think that's fair to say he gives man of the match, but I am going to give a special mention to a young lad, Trey Enyoni, ladies and gents. For a young 17-year-old to come in with the confidence and the composure on the ball that he had, and the willingness to back himself at certain times as well. Okay, yeah, not always going to work, and the execution sometimes is a little bit lacking, but in terms of just raw ability, I think this lad made a very good cameo and account for himself this evening. So I think he could be very happy, very proud of it. I thought for a 17-year-old to come on and do what he did, we talk about the likes of a 21-year-old being young and cutting his trade, a young goalkeeper in Jarell, and we're very proud of their performances. I thought he was boss when he came on. I really did. I thought it was a really good performance. Oh, it's sliding down, but that'll do. I thought it was a really good performance from him. It was bright, and a lot of people there, I'm sure, are going to agree with me. And as I say, having the ability to have a special talent like that come on and display it with the confidence when the game, let's be honest, it should have been won at that point. Liverpool should have had it wrapped up, and you know we'll go into the final word tomorrow. I'm sure they'll talk about some of the game management.